In a time of resurgence, after a tumultuous end of the century, full of great scandals, and under the domination of Armstrong and the US Postal team, a new generation of cyclists sought, always courageously, to re-establish the connection between fans and the epic of cycling. Do you want to know who were the best climbers of the 2000s? Follow my wheel, and I'll tell you. A great climber, quite atypical. His excellent top speed made him a perfect rider also for the classics. The small Italian cyclist won the Giro d'Italia in his second year as a professional, and in addition to great stage victories in both the Giro and the Vuelta a España, he was able to win races such as Giro di Lombardia in 3 occasions, and the Amstel Gold Race. Victories in Alto de Aitana, La Pandera, and Bormio 2000 show his quality as a climber. Best young rider in the 2006 Tour de France, he topped out at finishing 6th in the French race. Perhaps more was expected of the Transalpine rider after his breakthrough in cycling. Even so, his career has been full of great successes. Iban Mayo, the talented Basque rider, stood out as an exceptional climber in the world of cycling. His career was marked by impressive triumphs in the mountains, most notably his victory at Alpe d'Huez during the 2003 Tour de France. With victories in Giro d'Italia and multiple races such as Giro des Alpes or Dauphiné Libéré during the years 2004, 2005, and 2006, he presented himself as one of the alternatives to Armstrong to win the Tour. It was something that, together with his bad luck with the falls, was too much for this great climber. A great entertainer of the French race at the beginning of the decade, his brave and attacking character made Mayo one of the favorites of the Spanish and, above all, Basque fans. This great Russian cyclist excelled in the mountains and performed very good time trials, which made him a great rider for Grand Tours. He became known in the 2003 Tour as the best young rider in a competition in which he could only finish 3rd, and later around 2008 became one of CONTADOR's biggest rivals, winning a high mountain stage in the Aran Valley. However, he was able to win both Giro and Vuelta, in which he also won numerous stages with top finishes such as Ordino, Arcalís, or Pinerolo. By track record and by conditions, we have to include Denis Menchov among the great climbers of the time. This great Italian climber began his career as Marco Pantani's gregarious. When the pirate lost his chances of victory at the start of the 2000 Giro d'Italia, Garzelli was relieved of his team responsibilities and was able to fight back and eventually win the race after snatching the lead from Francesco Casagrande in the final time trial. After a couple of bad years in Mapei, he had to rebuild himself as a cyclist, going from being the #1 in Italian cycling with all the pressure and media attention that this entailed, to a battle cyclist of lifting the fans with impossible breakaways. A good climber with good top speed at the finishes, he also had his glory days in the week-long laps and the classics. He was present at many points in the history of the Giro d'Italia, with his spectacular duels with Simoni. In this way, he carved out a role as a race entertainer that made him valuable in a different way, as a cyclist with desire to shine in the leading role. With 9 stages in Giro d'Italia and 2 mountain awards, Garzelli deserves, of course, to be recognized among the best climbers of this decade. He was one of the cyclists called upon to reclaim the throne after Armstrong's retirement. Another climber from the inexhaustible Italian quarry, who never quite excelled, at least in France, where he achieved 2 podiums, the Best Young Rider's Jersey in 2002 and the La Mongie stage, the first part of the ascent of the Tourmalet in 2004. His main triumphs are his 2 Giro d'Italia in 2006 and 2010, as well as 6 partial victories, which he achieved in a tough fight with his Italian compatriots. Victories on Monte Bondone, The legendary stage of Aprica in 2006 or Monte Zoccolan are small proof of the Italian deserving to be among the best climbers of the decade. A peculiar cyclist, nicknamed the Chicken by his own family, his style was characterized by attacking on large mountain stages, far from the finish line, in order to manage advantage in the general classification over the bulk of the peloton, as he usually lost time in time trials. Taking advantage of his climbing ability, he tried to dispute the stage until the last moment against the favorites, and, in the process, get a good handful of points in the big mountains. A quality that won him the points jersey in the Tour 2 times. Winner in mythical mountains such as Cauterets or Col de Biscay, with 4 victories in the Vuelta and 4 in the Tour, this old-fashioned Danish climber has been, always in the mountain stages, one of the great entertainers of this decade. A climber in the purest Italian style, strong and elegant with every pedal stroke, one of those cyclists enveloped by a magical halo. In an outstanding decade of Italian climbers, Simoni stood above all others. He's finished on the podium of the Giro d'Italia in all its editions between 1999 and 2006, showing his ability. With a multitude of triumphs during his long career, his 2 victories in the general classification of the Giro d'Italia stand out, with numerous stage victories in addition to his victories on great mountains like Alto del Angliru during the Vuelta a España in 2000, or his victory in Giron-Lundenvielle during the 2001 Tour de France. His thrilling duels in the Giro with his compatriots Savoldelli, Garzelli, Cunego, and Di Luca have become part of the history of transalpine cycling. A very great climber. The Spanish cyclist still holds the record for the ascent of Alto del Angliru, a letter of introduction that in and of itself says a lot. With 4 final victories in Vuelta a España, the Béjar-born cyclist is one of the best Spanish climbers in history. In 1997, he made a name for himself in the Kelme team by winning a stage in the Vuelta a España and the Naranco climb. During the following years, he demonstrated his climbing skills until his explosion in 2000 with his first victory in La Vuelta, winning the stages of Angliru and La Bandera. He was one of the few riders who put Lance Armstrong in trouble, something that the American overcame by signing Heras to the US Postal team. He performed quite poorly in the time trial, but in the mountain, he was a beast. Brave and offensive, he was one of those cyclists who always put on a show. With stage victories in the 3 Grand Tours, always in very high mountain stages, we're without a doubt facing one of the best climbers of this century. Other great climbers of this decade have been the Colombian Santiago Botero, the Spaniards Carlos Sastre and Joseba Bellocchi, the Italian De Luca, and the Dutchman Michal Bugard. Vote for your favorite and help us choose the best climber ever. Thank you very much for making it to the end. If you liked the video, subscribe and like. You can support our work through a super thanks. Don't forget to vote, and if you want to continue enjoying the best climbers in cycling, don't miss this.